So, okay, this one's a little bit of a doozy. I have a story for you today that's going to take bringing your work home with you to a whole other level. Now, in the early 1900s, the Ford Motor Company was frankly killing it. Business was booming, so much so that they're ramping up production year after year, selling cars like crazy. Ford was facing the age-old issue of high turnover. And so Henry Ford thought, okay, we got to do something about this. How about we shrink the workday a little bit and we pay people more? We'll call it a profit-sharing program. And so on January 4th, 1914, he announced that that's exactly what he was doing. He was reducing the workday from 9 to 8 hours, and he's going to give his employees a raise up from $2.50 a day to nearly $5 a day. Now, I had a little bit of a hard time finding exact numbers for what that would be in today's money, but the general consensus that I was able to find, conservatively speaking, is several $100s a day. And his whole thought was this is an opportunity for workers to feel like they're participating in the success of the company. Not to mention it gives them a lot more breathing room to provide a better life for them and their families. They could actually afford to buy the cars that they were helping to produce. However, this pay increase did come with a pretty big catch. Okay, in order to afford these pay increases, a company's probably going to have to cut something, right? They'll cut benefits, they'll cut retirement matching. Not that they cut anything, but it was more like the company needed assurances. What they needed assurances of were that you were meeting their lifestyle standards. And boy, did they take doing their due diligence on this one pretty goddamn seriously. You see, Ford created the sociological department. What this was is basically the 1914 equivalent of the HR department showing up at your house to do a little snooping around. What were they looking for exactly? You weren't drinking. Your house was clean. What the fuck, man? The booze thing killed me too because it was 1914. Unless you were one of a select few people back then, your life was probably shit. And then you're gonna force people to get rid of the thing that's maybe helping them take the edge off a little bit. I don't know. That just seems cruel. And it's also not like these inspections were just somebody poking their head through the door and saying like, all right, well, my work here is done. No, they were knocking on the door with like the FBI with a warrant, ready to turn the place over. I just want you to imagine for a minute that it's 2026. You get a knock on the door one night and it's the HR person from your work. They're just at the door going, hey, Steve, I'm here to do a little poking around. Oh, and by the way, you don't have a choice in the matter if you want to keep that pay raise you just got. It's just crazy to me. What's interesting is I couldn't really find anything about any kind of serious objections to this by the workers, at least not en masse. Part of it, I think, is what I mentioned before, that life was just shit back then. So they were like, yeah, all right, I'll do whatever you want if you're going to pay me like that. Ford was able to reduce its turnover down to 16%, and people seem to be very okay with making certain concessions in order to provide a nice living for themselves. And in a way, I kind of can't blame them. And the more I think about it, there probably are people who would be very willing to undergo these type of home inspections in order to get a significant pay raise. I'm sure as shit not one of those people, but honestly, no shade to you if you are. Make your paper. But if Toby Flenderson showed up at my house looking to find a bottle of bourbon that I'd hidden under my couch, he's getting punched in the face. That's just what's going to happen. But shout out to all those Ford workers who got a big raise back in the day, and I'll see you tomorrow.